Please stand by.
Loading. Loading complete.
30,
29, 28,
27,
26,
25, 24,
23,
22,
21, 20, 19, 18,
17,
16, 15, 14, 13,
12,
11, 10,
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 2,
1. Now for what you've all been waiting for.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Good morning, good day, good evening, good night, good wherever it happens to be where you are. And hello to everybody who watches this in the future. Don't seem to have much of an audience right now, so I guess we'll just get right into the opening song. Every morning, every evening, ain't we got fun? Not much money, oh but honey, ain't we got fun? The red sun paid, dear, we having a bus. The smiles were made, dear, for people like us. In the winter, in the summer, don't we have fun? Times are bumming, getting bummer, still we have fun. There's nothing sure, the rich get rich and the poor get poor. In the meantime, in between time, ain't we got fun? Tax collectors getting closer, still we have fun. Tons of cares dear, come in pairs dear, don't we have fun? We've only started, no we're not downhearted. When I'm laid off, I'll be paid off, ain't we got fun? I know it's mad and getting madder, ain't we got fun? Times are bad and getting badder, still we have fun. There's nothing sure, the rich get rich and the poor get poor. In the meantime, in between time, ain't we got fun? Well, I've got a few things planned here, but a little bit of an announcement for those of you who watch this in the future, I guess. This, I probably won't be doing a show next week. Some real life stuff going on, so I probably have to do with that. Oh, there's somebody. Hello, my unfinished song. Still working on that song, huh? Yes, well, like I was saying, I probably won't be doing a show next week since I have some real life stuff going on possibly. I just want to keep my calendar open, and this next weekend is all. But let's get to one of the songs on the wheel. Let's get to the thing that actually brings up the songs on the wheel. There we are. What do you do with a drunken sailor? What do you do with a drunken sailor? What do you do with a drunken sailor early in the morning? Way hey up she rises, way hey up she rises, way hey up she rises early in the morning. Shave his belly a rusty razor, shave his belly a rusty razor, shave his belly a rusty razor early in the morning. Way hey up she rises, way hey up she rises, way hey up she rises early in the morning. Put me a scupper hose by bottom, put me a scupper hose by bottom, put me a scupper hose by bottom early in the morning. Way hey up she rises, way hey up she rises, way hey up she rises early in the morning. Put him in bed with the captain's daughter, put me in bed with the captain's daughter, put me in bed with the captain's daughter early in the morning. Way hey up she rises, way way hey up Shiraz, way hey up Shiraz is early in the morning. Put me along boat till it's sober, put me along boat till it's sober, put me along boat till it's sober early in the morning. Way hey up Shiraz, way hey up Shiraz, way hey up Shiraz is early in the morning. That's what you do with a drunken sailor, that's what you do with a drunken sailor, that's what you do with a drunken sailor early in the morning. Way hey up Shiraz, way hey up Shiraz, way hey up Shiraz is early in the morning. Way hey up Shiraz, way hey up Shiraz, way hey up Shiraz is early in the morning. Boy, that one takes a lot of work. But it's a good one. One of the first ones I learned. So, see what we got here. Guess we can get to right into a article here. Graham M. Greene dies. Oscar-nominated Dances with Wolves actor was 73. Graham M. Greene, a trailblazing Canadian First Nations actor who opened doors for Indigenous actors in Hollywood, died September 1st in a Toronto hospital after a long illness. The Oscar nominee for Dances with Wolves was 73. He was a great man of morals, ethics, and character, and will be eternally missed. Greene's agent, Michael Greene, no relation, said in the statement to Deadline, "You are finally free. Susan Smith is meeting you at the gates of heaven," he added, referencing the actor's longtime agent who died in 2013. Greene was born on June 22nd, 1952, in Usawakan on the Six Nations Reserve. He worked odd jobs before giving acting a go. Greene started on stage, and by the 1970s he was performing in Canadian and English professional theatre productions. He made his screen debut in 1979, the year I was born, in an episode of the Canadian drama series The Great Detective. His first movie was the 1983 Running Brave. Greene's big breakthrough came several years later when Kevin Costner cast him as Kicking Bird, one of the main characters in his 1990 Western Dances with Wolves. The film landed 12 Academy Award nominations, including one for Greene as Best Supporting Actor, and won 7, including Best Picture. Dances with Wolves launched Greene's Hollywood career. He went on to appear in such high-profile features as Maverick in 1994 with Mel Gibson and Jodie Foster, Die Hard with a Vengeance in 1995 with Bruce Willis, The Green Mile in 1999 with Tom Hanks, The Twilight Saga, New Moon in 2009 with Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson, as well as Aaron Sorkin in Molly's Game in 2017. Molly's Game in 2017, with Jessica Chastain, Idris Elba, and Costner. Graham also had many roles in Thunderheart in 1992, opposite Val Kilmer, in America in 2005, opposite Felicia Huffman, and Taylor Sheridan in Wind River in 2017, opposite Jeremy Renner and Elizabeth Tholson. Sheridan subsequently he cast Green in two of his series from Paramount, 1883, and most recently Tulsa King. Green's TV series credit it also includes series his regular roles on Wolf Lake, Defiance, and Marvel's Echo, and recurring stints on Northern Exposure, Lonesome Dove of the series, Being Erica, Longmire, Goliath, and American Gods. In addition to his Oscar nomination, Green is a Grammy Gemini and Canadian Screen Award winner, Independent Spirit nominee. He has a star in Canada's Walk of Fame, and early this year received the Governor General's Performing Arts Award in his native country. Fittingly, one of Green's final roles was an FX acclaimed series, Reservation Dogs, which built on his legacy of breaking barriers for indigenous talents in Hollywood. Green, who worked until the end, and has one upcoming movie in the can, thriller Icefall, starring Joel Kinnaman. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. Kinnaman? No. In his final hour, he unsuccessfully tried reaching out to Costner to express his gratitude to the filmmaker who changed his life. He is survived by his wife, 35 years, Hilary Blackmore, daughter Lily Lazar Green, and grandson Tarlo. A little more here. He was part of the Oneida people, which was, I guess, the tribe he was on. When discussing Native people in film, Green noted that he would like to see depictions of his people as more than stoic, saying, "My people are very funny." I thought you'd add that in from Wikipedia, I found. Considering him, I guess the parting glass would be appropriate. Of all the money that I had, I spent it in good company, and all the harm I've ever done, alas, it was to none but me, and all I've done for want of wit, to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be to you all. So fill to me the parting glass, and drink a health whate'er befall, and gently rise and softly call. Good night and joy be to you all. Of all the comrades that e'er I had, they're sorry for my going away. And all the sweethearts that e'er I had, they'd wish me one more day to stay. But since it fell unto my lot that I should rise and you should not, I gently rise and softly call. Good night and joy be to you all. So fill to me the parting glass, and drink a health whatever befall, and gently rise and softly call. Good night and joy be to you all. But since it has so ought to be, by a time to rise and a time to fall, come fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be to you all. Good night and joy be to you all. These actors just drop like flies nowadays. Well, hold on here. I seem to be hearing myself here. There we are. I forgot to mute the stream. You might have going on the side here. All right. Now, there we are. I've just made the stream illegal in Texas. Potentially. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the bill that was signed into law and that went into law into effect this September 1st here, which is Bill SB 20. So, what's in SB 20? First of all, this has happened before SB 20 really went into effect, but it was kind of preemptive. After a very successful Friday, we were banned from the Japan convention in San Antonio, Texas. This weekend, our content is too provocative for the powerful of the Lone Star State. Ahead of the anti-anime bill, SB 20, going into effect on Monday. Go back to our illegal image here. So, let's see here. There we are. This is the one I was looking for. Okay. The screen. This is a little video I came across that should explain a little bit.
Why are people afraid Texas will ban anime? Let me explain. The Texas legislature passed Senate Bill 20 titled the Stopping AI-Generated Child Pornography Act in late May 2025, and it took effect on September 1st. The goal of the bill is to protect Texans from the rise of AI-generated pornography, specifically content involving children. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick issued a statement.
Yeah, it affects way more than that.
In early March, saying, I named Senate Bill 20 as a priority because Texas law must do more to eliminate all types of child pornography and stop the crimes that result from it.
Crimes like what? Thought crimes? Because they're attacking stuff that doesn't actually involve kids. And a lot of the stuff doesn't even involve characters that are minors.
However, fans of anime and manga have raised concerns about the wording of Senate Bill 20. While the bill aims to criminalize AI-generated child pornography, the language used includes, regardless of whether the depiction is an image of an actual child, a cartoon or animation, or an image created using an artificial intelligence application or other computer software. The comic
Yeah, and there's also more to that where there's all, if you get into some more detail, it tries to clarify a little bit further, and the way they have it clarified is to defining these things. It could effectively apply to anything, and this part here actually kind of explains a little bit more.
Comic Book Legal Defense Fund, a nonprofit organization that protects the First Amendment rights of comic creators, publishers, and retailers, feared that this language was too vague. In a statement released expressing concern, they said, "This language has raised concern over Senate Bill 20's potential impact, especially on erotic manga with stylized images depicting characters often misidentified as children." The Comic Book Legal Defense Fund has encountered situations in which government officials have claimed all manga is, by definition, child porn.
And that's the problem where we run into. If you're being that broad with your language and your bill, and you're having that broad of a interpretation of it, and by extent that would apply to all anime, by the way. Thus, the Misa, who Elon Musk totally didn't steal her outfit for his AI hooker or Annie.
Screen Rant, a publication that covers television and film news, claimed that Senate Bill 20 is likely unconstitutional. They compared the bill to the 2002 Supreme Court case, Ashcroft versus Free Speech Coalition, which sought to outlaw depictions of minors in obscene material, even if no actual minors were involved. The court ruled 6-3 that banning such depictions would violate the Constitution. As of September 2nd, fans are still speculating about how Senate Bill 20 could affect the production and consumption of anime and manga in Texas. What do you think of what fans are calling the anti-anime law? Let us know in the comments.
There are actually other issues with this as well. And it doesn't just necessarily apply to anime either. Or it can have a broad range of cartoons and other materials. I'm kind of thinking about maybe doing an independent video on this particular subject. It's a few of the examples I had put up here was included Stewie with his pants and he was taking a dump on the street in an alternate reality. Just a regular depiction of Miku, the Vocaloid, the short skirt. It would be enough, and she looks young. Similar with this Misa. And that scene where Ariel gets her legs, the Little Mermaid could fall under this as well as being illegal in Texas. Now, another real danger with this is the bill is this sort of thing spreading to other states. So Texas did it. If they get away with it, you could probably expect places like Florida, Alabama, or other states like that, possibly even like California, doing something like this. And face it, as a lawmaker, or who wants to be the one being accused of not backing a bill that targets child porn, huh? So there is a definite danger with this if it isn't considered unconstitutional. And though I am left wondering one thing. Exactly how are they going to enforce this? I mean, it seems like a fairly unenforceable law, unless you're like going in and raiding people's homes or attacking people streaming stuff like what I'm doing right now. doesn't seem like you could really enforce this. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Honestly, my thoughts is I need a drink after going through that. Yeah. Had to be you. Hitting long ones today, aren't we? What do I do? Just as you say. Why must I give you your way? Why do I sigh? Why don't I try to forget? It must have been that something lovers call fate kept on saying I had to wait. I saw them all, just couldn't fall till we met. It had to be you. It had to be you. I wandered around and finally found somebody who could make me be true and make me be blue and even be glad just to be sad thinking of you. Some others I've seen might never be mean, might never be cross or try to be boss, but they wouldn't do for nobody else. Gave me a thrill for all your faults. I love you still. Had to be you, wonderful you. It had to be you. Seemed like dreams, like I always had. Could be, should be, making me glad. Why am I blue? It's up to you to explain. Maybe, baby, I'll go away. And someday, some way, you'll come and say, it had to be you. It had to be you. I wandered around and finally found somebody who could make me be true and make me be blue and even be glad just to be sad thinking of you. Some others I've seen might never be mean, might never be cross or try to be boss, but they wouldn't do for nobody else. Gave me a thrill for all your faults. I love you still. It had to be you, wonderful you. It had to be you. What's it? Hi, have I not told you that I am a email for Greg Abbott? I don't think you have. Let's see what else we have on the wheel. I dream of Jeannie with the light brown hair, born like a vapor on the summer air. I see her tripping where the bright streams play, happy as the daisies that dance on her way. Many were the wild notes her merry voice would pull, many were the blithe birds that warbled them all. Oh, I dream of Jeannie with the light brown hair, floating like a vapor on the soft summer air. I long for Jeannie with the day dawn smile, radiant in gladness, warm with winning guile. I hear her melodies like joy is gone by, sighing round my heart, oh, the fond hopes that die. Sighing like the night wind, sobbing like the rain, wailing for the lost one that comes not again. Oh, I long for Jeannie, and my heart bows low, never more to find her where the bright waters flow. I sigh for Jeannie, but her light form stray far from the fond hearts around her native glade. Her smiles have vanished, her sweet songs flown, flitting like the dreams that have cheered us and gone. Now the nodding wildflowers may wither on the shore, while her gentle fingers will cull them no more. Oh, I sigh for Jeannie with the light brown hair, floating like a vapor on the soft summer air. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, yes. A little bit more on the SB20 thing here. That's a little taste of the kind of thing they put it out that they got banned for. So, choose how Raina calls you anytime during gameplay. This is obviously a not safe for work game. Welcome home, Daddy. You must have worked hard today. I'm kind of glad that you can change how she dresses you. Geez, you're such a dummy, Daddy. I love you, not as your daughter, but as a woman. And Daddy, okay. Yeah. So that's kind of a taste of the kind of thing that they place they got that Jazz got banned for. Oh yes, this thing. A little news that came across here. Game of Thrones star Sophie Turner are confirmed to play Lara Croft in TV series. I don't know. I'm kind of having trouble picturing her as Lara Croft. I'm still a little of the mindset that Lara Croft needs to have big tits. Amazon MGM Studios has announced that Game of Thrones star Sophie Turner. Interestingly, he's announced as Game of Thrones star, seeing as she's done quite a bit after that. Will indeed play the role of Lara Croft in an upcoming Tomb Raider series. a previous report it said Turner had dropped out and the show itself was dead. Unfortunately, it isn't. Variety and other news confirmed in the news today that the Tomb Raider TV series is moving ahead. Additionally, the Amazon MGM Studios confirmed that filming will begin in January 2026. As announced previously, the Fleabag's Phoebe Waller-Bridge is the creator, writer, and executive producer for the series. With Chad Hodge, single all the way, Wayward Pines joining as co-showrunner and executive producer. Shogun director Jonathan Van Tolkien has also come aboard as executive producer and director. Walter Bridge said in a statement, "Everyone on board is wildly passionate about Laura and are all as outrageous, as brave and hilarious as she is. Get your artifacts out. Croft is coming." Before Turner, the actor Angela Jolie and Alicia Vikander brought the character Laura Croft to life in the film. For her part, Turner said she is thrilled beyond measure to play Laura Croft. They're massive shoes to fill, that's true. Following in the steps of Angelina and Alicia with their powerhouse performances, but with Phoebe at the helm, we and Laura are all in very safe hands. I can't wait for you all to see what we have cooking. Hopefully, my skepticism is unfounded. The Tomb Raider series for Prime Video was greenlit under the leadership of Amazon MGM Studios boss Jennifer Salk, but Salk excited the company earlier this year amidst reports of a power struggle. Salk was said to be personally overseeing the Tomb Raider series. Matthew Belloni of Puck reports in March that the Tomb Raider series went through multiple writers' rooms with tens of millions spent on development costs. That's not a good sign. In addition to producing the TV series, Amazon is publishing the next Tomb Raider game from Crystal Dynamics. The studio recently underwent layoffs after the cancellation of Perfect Dark at the time. The studio said Tomb Raider was unaffected. This new game was never expected to be connected to the TV series. Yeah. Well, like I said, I hope my skepticism is unfounded. Hello. Greeting, sentient beings. We're getting just in time, and I'll be getting into the meat of this show shortly. After a song. Yeah, right on the edge there, ain't it? When April showers may come your way, they bring the flowers that bloom in May. So when it's raining, have no regrets, because it isn't raining, you know it's raining violets. And when you see clouds up on a hill, you know that there'll be crowds of daffodils. So just keep looking for a bluebird and listening for his song whenever April showers come along. And when you see clouds up on a hill, you know that there'll be crowds of daffodils. So just keep looking for a bluebird and listening for his song whenever April showers come along. Nope, didn't miss the dinosaurs at all. Oh, this might end up being a short live stream at the pace I'm going. Let's get things up here. All right. Now, this past week, I went and binged all 7 of the movies in the Jurassic Park franchise. So here's a little bit of a breakdown and some rewrites. Jurassic Park, Eric, was a groundbreaking masterpiece when it hit theaters in 1993. It blended its CGI and animatronics to create lifelike dinosaurs unlike anything seen before. It completely redefined what the audience expected from prehistoric life on screen. And to kind of showcase this, this is from a made-for-TV movie, Lost World, from 1992, a year prior to Jurassic Park. And you can see sorry, a little bit blurry images here, but you can see the pterodactyl that I have there, little baby pterodactyl, and just how basically it's a little puppet, very clunky, very fake looking. Now we'll compare this to 2001 version of this same movie, again made for TV, and that's what we got now. So obviously it's using CGI here rather than puppets, but again it's kind of blurry because of it's a low resolution thing, but you can see how much different and how much more accurate to a pterodactyl it is now. However, there are numerous scientific errors in this movie, even for its time, starting with its name. Most of the dinosaurs depicted in the movie are from the Cretaceous period, but I guess the mostly Cretaceous Park didn't have the same ring to it. The depictions of the Velociraptor is all wrong. Their design was based on Deinonychus. Some believe it was based on Utahraptor, but that dinosaur wasn't discovered until after the movie was released. Real Velociraptors had feathers. Their level of intelligence was also almost certainly overstated. However, most of these errors can be excused. Gregory S. Paul, a freelance researcher, author, and illustrator who worked in paleontology, argued that Deinonychus was a species of velociraptor, creating the scientific name Velociraptor antirhynchus in 1988. The author of the novel chose Velociraptor because he thought it sounded better than Deinonychus. While we had some evidence of dromaeosaurs being feathered, we didn't confirm Velociraptors having feathers until 2007. Real Velociraptors were feathered and about the size of turkeys. There is also some question as to whether or not they were pack hunters as well. T-Rex's motion and only vision was made up for the movie. T-Rex likely had excellent binocular vision, and even if its vision was as depicted in the movie, he had an excellent sense of smell, so it wouldn't have needed to rely on its vision anyway. Dilophosaurus is having frills and spitting venom was also made up for the movie. There is no evidence of such features, and given what we know of theropod dinosaurs, it's highly unlikely they would have had such features. Also, their real-life counterparts were much bigger than how they were depicted in the movie. DNA samples would not be viable, well, even if it were preserved in amber, and even if it could be preserved, we couldn't just fill in the gaps with frog DNA or any other modern species like we did. Well, we'll get to a possibility of filling in with modern species with something else a little bit later. Any attempt to do so would give us something new instead of a dinosaur. At best, they would only superficially look like dinosaurs. But with that, there are still some interesting points of science fiction that have come to pass. You might have heard news of finding dinosaur DNA or dinosaur blood in fossilized bone. This is an overstatement. What was found was heme protein compounds, a component of blood, not blood or DNA. This find is still amazing, and so far there is the closest to finding dinosaur DNA that we have. Cloning at the time when the movie came out in 1993, it required the whole animal. Cloning from just a DNA sample, like what we see in the movie, didn't happen until 3 years later, in 1996, when Dolly the sheep was created through a new cloning process. This cloning process was eventually used to bring back an extinct species, the last Parian in ibex, an animal that's the same genus as the goat. It went extinct in 2000 when a tree fell and killed the last remaining one in a zoo. Genetic samples were taken, and using the same cloning process used to create Dolly, they implanted a cousin species with the clone. Unfortunately, the clone was born with defects in its lungs and only survived for 10 minutes. But for those 10 minutes, we had brought a species back from extinction. Brandt states that dinosaurs are likely related to birds. This was an interesting addition. Today, the scientific consensus is that birds are descendants of dinosaurs, thus being avian dinosaurs. But at the time, and this was on the fringe, the concrete evidence that solidified this didn't come until 3 or 4 years later, with finds of several different species. The inconsistencies in the Jurassic Park dinosaurs and their real-world counterparts had a built-in excuse in the novel, which I think they should have kept in for the movie. In the novel, the dinosaurs are explicitly engineered to meet public expectations, designed to match pop culture's image of them. If they kept this in the movie, even as a throwaway line, they could have sidestepped most of the issues with the scientific inaccuracies of the dinosaurs and set up an excuse for any changes that would occur through further scientific discoveries, like the velociraptors having feathers. Interestingly, we have a real-world comparison into doing just this. Colossal Biosciences used gene editing to modify the DNA of common gray wolves. Not me. With genetic material from extinct direwolf fossils. They reported this as resurrecting direwolves from extinction. What they created was just a modified gray wolf that looks like a direwolf, or something entirely new. Gray wolves and direwolves were very different species. Direwolves weren't even in true wolves, but a species of canine in whose similarities to wolves is due to convergent evolution. But this is actually pretty close to the sort of de-extinction we see the InGen doing in Jurassic Park with the dinosaurs. Unfortunately, the subsequent films didn't live up to the magic captured by the first one. The Lost World, Jurassic Park, along with the first movie, were the only ones based on the novels. But they made a number of changes between the movies and the books. In some ways, it works against the quality of the movie. The biggest change I felt was the addition of T-Rex rampaging through San Diego. There was no explanation as to what ate the crew either. The T-Rex couldn't have eaten the crew, who in tight spaces is like the ship's bridge. And as a pet lover, the scene where the T-Rex eats the pet dog bothered me. The whole San Diego scene seemed unnecessary and could have been replaced by more book-accurate material. Yes, to be fair, a made-for-TV movie would not have much of a budget. Yeah, that's true. But still, well, if you even look at any real depiction of dinosaurs before and after Jurassic Park, you'll see a drastic change in how they're depicted, even for low-budget films. Heavy rain could have made it difficult for Rex to locate small prey by smell. That's true, but when he's got its nose basically pressed up against you, I'm thinking it's probably gonna be able to smell you. Yeah, they basically did just create a new breed of wolf. T-Rex goes to the city. He was a fail. Yeah. Well, Jurassic Park 3, it just felt lackluster to me. Maybe it's because I was holding this movie, in Lost World, to the high standard of the first movie. But it seems I'm not alone, with others seeing it as generic and unambitious, with a thin plot. Maybe it would have been more interesting if we had followed the kid, Eric, around and as he found ways to survive on the island, and for the 8 weeks he was lost. With basically the whole of the movie we got fitting into the final scene in where he's rescued by Grant and his parents. Keeping the perspective from Eric's view the whole time, but the part that bugged me the most was the very last scene where we see the pterodon flying away to who knows where. This actually he applies to the ending of 2 as well, of the Lost World Jurassic Park. Seeing as we see free flying pterodons in that one as well. This escape from the island is never addressed. Movie-wise, the franchise took a 14-year hiatus until Jurassic World. This was the only Jurassic World movie I saw in the theaters. The others I watched for the first time in binging them this week. I thought it was an okay popcorn flick. The movie introduced a new trend in the franchise of basically just creating kaiju. With the Indominus Rex, a T-Rex Velociraptor hybrid. Their excuse for making it is that regular dinosaurs are becoming passé, even though we are never shown this in the movie. So I can believe, I can believe a greedy corporation wanting to create kaiju as a new attraction. Yeah, that's believable. There are a number of plot holes in Jurassic World, such as Claire outrunning a T-Rex in high heels, no less, or how the Indominus Rex was able to instantly bond with the Velociraptors after it was explicitly stated that it was antisocial due to its upbringing in isolation. But for me, the biggest plot hole is when you can literally fit a dinosaur through. That's how the Indominus Rex escapes. With a scared worker running for his life and opening a door big enough to let it out. You would think a well-built, high-tech facility you would have escape doors only big enough for a human to fit through. In fact, real-world zoos use systems like narrow maintenance tunnels to prevent exactly this scenario from happening with predator species from escaping their enclosures. It was a clumsy narrative choice that sacrificed logic for narrative tension when the sacrifice was unnecessary. I'd like to not just complain, but find a way to improve here. So here's my idea of how the scene could be rewritten. The first part of it kind of plays out very similar to what we see in the movie. We start with Claire and Owen in the observation room. Owen notes how the Indominus Rex is isolated and needs a feeding crane in lowering a large piece of meat down, as we see in the screenshot here. Again, like in the movie, he remarks how the Indominus Rex only has a positive bond with the crane, followed by Claire quipping about how the Indominus Rex needs a friend and should be set up a play date. Wait for a moment and notice the Indominus Rex isn't coming out to eat, which is where Owen notices the scratch marks on the wall, asking if those had always been there. Instead of a fake out like in the movie, it was a previous attempt to escape, testing its enclosure for weak points, like a velociraptor, as described in the first movie, doing that. This is where the scene begins to really deviate. Claire checks the thermals and tracking device, and it shows the Indominus Rex is still in the enclosure. We cut to a brief scene of the Indominus Rex tilting its head and sizing up the crane. Suddenly, out of nowhere, the Indominus Rex leaps out of hiding and grabs hold of the cable attached to the crane and swings it over toward the wall. The crane groans under its weight as it starts climbing, using the cable in its claws to scale the wall enclosure. In panic state, Claire hits the alarm. Workers rush to a quick release mechanism to detach the crane's cables, but the Indominus Rex is too fast. It's too late. With the alarm blaring, the Indominus Rex hooks a claw onto the top edge of the enclosure and pulls itself up and hops over to the other side. This rewrite is still very cinematic and doesn't rely on a clumsy door that can let it out. The quick release on the crane shows they were thinking of this as a possibility for escape, but the Indominus Rex was just a bit too quick for it to work. And if we want, we could keep a short scene of a worker escaping the enclosure through a small door just to show this was thought of in the enclosure's design as well. And there's the scratch marks. And just a scene of the mosasaur being fed at a great white shark. Oh. Hello, File 13. You know what? That's better than in all the Jurassic Park movies. John McSween and his combat karate and tiger workout video. I think you're not a huge fan of the Jurassic Park movies. I'll need a script. I'll need it. Jurassic World will also introduce the concept that dinosaurs could be trained to respond to a human. Yes. No, actually, I could believe that. Actually, I thought was somewhat believable, especially considering the intelligence depicted it for the raptors. Being that we can work with modern birds and whatnot. Thanks. There's a lot more to come of my revisions too. Oh, almost missed this. Personally, I think the San Diego seems a nod to Arthur Conan Doyle's novel named Lost World. Possibly. Though still, they needed to explain, at very least, needed to explain in how the crew of the ship got ate. Because even if they could maybe had a small scene of some raptors getting on board ahead of time, and they find maybe a dead raptor or somewhere in the lower decks of the ship. Next, we have Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. And the plot holes just get bigger. We can fit a whole herd of dinosaurs through this one. We start with a group of mercenaries recovering a bone sample from the dead Indominus Rex to create a new genetically modified hybrid, the Indoraptor. And then we have the Indoraptor right there. A prototype kaiju designed for military purposes. Yeah, I'm going to call these things kaiju, not hybrid dinosaurs. But the plot doesn't really pick up until it's found that the volcano on Isla Nublar is active and about to erupt. That would be the island in the first movie. A team is sent in to rescue as many dinosaurs as possible. But it turns out most of the team are mercenaries seeking to poach the dinosaurs in order to sell them on the black market. There is also a subplot about a girl who turns out to be a human clone. This plot is more important in the next movie. But this is where the big plot hole is. See, the mastermind behind the poaching, Eli Mills, is also the guy who created Indioraptor. So he has access to the cloning technology. If that's the case, why bother poaching the dinosaurs at all? Why not just clone how many you want and flood the black market? There are two ways I thought of on how this plot could be fixed. First, make the Indioraptor a pre-existing InGen creation in that Mills's group steals, not something they build from scratch. They will lack the full cloning technology needed to create new dinosaurs, so they must poach existing ones from the island to sell. This gets around the whole issue of why they wouldn't be able to clone their own dinosaurs. And seeing as we saw from the last movie, InGen was playing around with creating kaiju. The second idea, have Mills Group who steal InGen's cloning technology, but lack the raw dinosaur DNA needed to create new species. Poaching dinosaurs from the island becomes necessary. You need to harvest their genetic material for cloning, justifying the rescue operation as a front. They harvest whatever DNA they need and sell the living dinosaurs on the black market, with the promise of being able to make custom kaiju like the Indioraptor for the right price. Some question in the relatively low price the living dinosaurs were going for, 10 million, and when skeletons go for millions. That does sound a bit low, but this is a world where this is a world that has grown accustomed to the existence of dinosaurs. As noted in the previous movie, which might offer at least some explanation in this low price. So basically, in universe, it makes sense to a degree. Next up, we have Jurassic Park Dominion. In this movie, Biosyn, a competitor to InGen, which created the dinosaurs for Jurassic Park, created a hybrid species of giant locust. It's from a modern and prehistoric species in order to wipe out the world's food supply, except for their own biosyn crops. So there's a picture of one of the giant locusts. There really was a giant locust that existed that was discovered. I don't think it's been given a name yet, but it ran about 30.2 centimeters long, so a little bit over a foot. This thing's even bigger than that, really, by the looks of it. But this is the first time we hear the name Biosyn in the movies. In the novels, they were the competitors who was trying to infiltrate and steal from InGen. Dodd Hudson and Nedry in the first movie, they were likely working for Biosyn, with Nedry he is a Biosyn spy. Biosyn is also the explanation of where the unlisted dinosaurs on the Site B island came from, mentioned in the third movie. Dr. Wu, a geneticist introduced in the first movie and has made appearances in subsequent movies, feels he has made a horrible mistake by engineering the locust. We find out that the clone's girl, Maisie, introduced in the previous film, was created by the very person she was a clone of, Charlotte Lockwood. Charlotte had a genetic disease which he corrected in Maisie. Dr. Wu thinks that if he can study how Maisie he was altered, he can use this to create a pathogen to stop the locust. At the end, Maisie agrees to help, and Dr. Wu releases the locust with the pathogen. My thoughts on this movie: I thought the plot of this one was actually pretty solid and consistent throughout. I mean, there are obviously minor nitpicks you can find, and you can pretty much find that in just about any movie. And it was nice to see both the old and new faces together. With Grant, Ellie, and Malcolm alongside the new crew of Owen, and Claire, and Maisie. An interesting little thing, is kind of a side note here. If you notice in this image, you have the old crew on the left going over to the new crew on the right, and they do that again later in the film. The old crew on the left, new crew on the right. So I just thought it was an interesting visual little way of showing that. I lost my place here. Okay, but I can see why some might have an issue with it being less focused on dinosaurs in a dinosaur movie, or how it seems dinosaurs being let loose in the world at large, like what happened in the previous movie. It just wasn't enough of a plot to run with. And they had this nice little scene here. They're harkening back to the original logo. Finally, we have Jurassic World Rebirth, where I feel Dominion was perhaps my favorite of the four Jurassic World movies. This was my least favorite. We get all new faces with no returning cast, and the plot as a whole was horribly written. So all the dinosaurs that were let loose in the world back in Fallen Kingdom are now dying out, except for those living on islands in the equatorial region. So this movie is just wiping away an entire plot point that could be used for a future movie. Or if they're going to use it, at least use it for this movie. The plot of this movie, he picks up with Kreb, some business guy, introducing Dr. Henry Loomis to Zora Bennett, our main protagonist. Dr. Loomis has been working on paleodoxin, a drug that can cure heart disease. I'm surprised they didn't say cure cancer, the way this thing's written. But they need blood samples from the three largest prehistoric species. The Titanosaurus on land, the Mosasaurus in the sea, and Quetzalcoatl in the air. All three species are the largest in their category, which means they have larger hearts and thus have more complex and efficient blood circulation, to which their longevity is attributable. Documented to be longer than in the average dinosaur lifespan. This is ridiculous. Setting aside the faulty logic that bigger hearts equals longer life, Quetzalcoatlus, while the largest pterosaur to have lived, is dwarfed by many other species available, in Jurassic World or Jurassic Park. So if the argument is that the larger the animal, the larger the heart, thus the longer they live, you'd want to go with the largest three species available. Not just the largest in a respective category. For example, Brachiosaurus is listed in the Jurassic Park Wiki as 12 to 13 meters high and 19 to 21.5 meters long, much bigger than the Quetzalcoatlus at 4.9 meters high and 4 meters long. Worse yet, they never collect a blood sample from Quetzalcoatlus. What they get is an amniotic fluid from one of the eggs. And you can see right here, yeah, that's not blood, right? It collected from the egg. This setup, this is a setup of land, sea, and air motif. The whole thing plays out like a video game named Fetch Quest, and felt like it was written by people who only the life experience was playing a video game. One point in favor of this movie: they show Spinosaurus swimming. Spinosaurus was semi-aquatic and ate fish, unlike it gets pictured in Jurassic Park 3. So it gets a plus us for at least it's getting that much right. Now, have to rewrite this one. Instead of making it a land, sea, and air video game fetch quest, focusing on the largest prehistoric creature, we'll make it a research expedition. We have the plot point established of dinosaurs all over the world dying out, except for this particular location, or locations, I should say. So a research team is gathered here to go and collect blood samples from not just 3, but a variety of prehistoric animals in order to discover why they are thriving in these particular areas of the world, while they die off everywhere else. We can keep the cinematic thrill chase as they try to get a sample from a mosasaurus. And we can even expand on the cinematic scene in this way, as we are no longer constrained to just 3 species. For example, the team goes to collect a sample from Triceratops. When they shoot it with the dart to collect the sample, the Triceratops bellows and bolts, triggering the herd to panic and stampede. The team scrambles to avoid it being gored or trampled by multi-ton beasts, these with swinging horns and thundering feet, diving into a ditch or climbing a tree to get to safety. Another quiet scene shows a researcher packing a cooler with labeled vials, blood samples marked Stegosaurus, Ankylosaurus, Pterodon, or Dimetrodon. The show is sort of montage of work being done. We can also add scenes where the team has to face danger, collecting samples from T-Rex and Velociraptor in order to tie into the most iconic dinosaur threats of the franchise. The scientific expedition would also justify collecting a sample of amniotic fluid from the Quetzalcoatlus egg, since a researcher might think of it mid-expedition and that there might be clues in studying the fluid. By expanding the range of the species they need to collect examples from, this gives it a broader scientific framework, avoiding the original's forced land, sea, and air motif, and makes it feel less like a video game with action cutscenes. Oh yeah, this guy. This movie introduced yet another kaiju. The mutant Tyrannosaurus, if you can even call it that, the Stortus Rex. In my version, I would just cut this guy out entirely. He played no real role in the story's plot and just showed up at the end in like a final boss fight. Really. You have a short scene of him escaping and nothing until the end. That was it for him. And that's a kaiju. Come on. That's the most kaiju they've had so far. Hey, sup, Carlo? Is fish? Yeah. Let me just get a drink here. Just one last idea I want to throw out there. This is kind of a pitch for my own idea for a Jurassic World movie. Jurassic World documentary. This would be a mockumentary style story following a tagged dinosaur, maybe a Triceratops. The movie focuses on the dinosaur as it goes about its daily life, feeding, tending to its young, seeing how it interacts with modern animals, and avoiding or confronting predators, such as a velociraptor or T-Rex. All done through the lens of a crew making a documentary of the dinosaurs' habit. It's in a modern setting, the Jurassic World setting. I don't know. What do you think of the idea? Think it could work? Yep. Let's do another song to cover some time here. Hello, my baby. The frog song. Or should we call it the dinosaur song, seeing as they use frog DNA to create the first dinosaurs in the first Jurassic Park movie? I've got a little baby, she's out of sight. I talk to her across the telephone. I haven't seen my honey, but she's mine, alright. So take my tip and leave this gal alone. Every single morning you can hear me yell, "Hey Central, fix me up across the line." Connects me with my honey, then I ring the bell. And this is what I say to baby mine. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal. Send me a kiss by wire. Baby, my heart's on fire. If you refuse me, honey, you lose me. Then you'll be left alone. Oh, baby, telephone and tell me I'm your own. Hello, hello, baby. Guess you don't hear me. The wires must be crossed somewhere. Hello, hello, I said hello this morning through the phone. She said her name is Bess. Now I kind of know where I am at. I'm satisfied who's got my baby's dress. You're pasted in the lining of my hat. I'm mighty scared so the wires get crossed. It'll separate me from my baby mine. Then some other fool will win her. The game is lost. So each day I shout across the line. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal. Send me a kiss by wire. Baby, my heart's on fire. If you refuse me, honey, you lose me, then you'll be left alone. Oh, baby, telephone and tell me I'm your own. Come on, baby. uh, a lab. An indistinct lab bird escaped. That's basically it. He just escaped from a lab and was wandering around on the island, and he just kind of showed up at the end and to kill a bunch of people. Yeah, he really didn't play any role in the movie itself. But if you missed it, I'll redo my I don't know. Did you miss my little documentary pitch for another movie? Me too. I'll give you the rundown on that one as well. Wait. Do. I was oh so blue till you came along, just to make my life a wonderful song. You brought sunshine just to brighten my loneliness. Is it any wonder in my happiness? I confess. Do I want you? Oh my, do I? Honey, did I do? Do I need you? Oh my, do I? Honey, did I do? I'm glad that I'm the one who found you. That's why I'm always hanging around you. Do I love you? Oh my, do I? Honey, did I do? There are lots of others that I have met. Those you meet today, tomorrow forget. You're the only one who ever could stand the test. That's the reason why I choose you from the rest. You're the best. Do I want you? Oh my, do I? Honey, did I do? Do I need you? Oh my, do I? Honey, did I do? Yeah, I can give it to you right now. Basically, I got I got time to kill all here. But the idea I had was a Jurassic World documentary. This would be a mockumentary style story following a tag dinosaur, maybe like a Triceratops. Uh, the movie would focus on the dinosaur as it goes about its daily life, feeding and tending to young, seeing how it interacts with the modern animals in the Jurassic World setting, and avoiding or confronting predators like T Rex. And it's all done through the lens of a crew making a documentary of the dinosaur's habits in a modern setting. I don't know. So that's kind of the idea there. and then breathe. I'm Enrique, I am. I got married to a wood next door. She's been married 7 times before, and all the name Henry. Henry should never will her a son. No son. I'm a old man, Enrique, I am. Second verse, same as the first. I'm Enrique, I am. Enrique, I am. I got married to the wood next door. She's been married 7 times before, and all of them named Henry. Henry should never will her a son. No son. I'm a old man, Enrique, I am. Oh, I'm Enrique, I am. Enrique, I am. I got married to a woman next door. She's been married 7 times before, and all of them named Henry. Henry should have a will or a son. No son. I'm a old man, Henry, I am. Henry, 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 I am, Henry, I am. Yeah. Yeah. Sounds good to me. But I guess the audience isn't going to engage if there aren't people running, screaming, and dying. Well, I suppose we could always kill off the people doing the documentary at the end. Now, I guess I'll finish this up with some updates on the Timeless Island project I've been working on. I had to make some significant adjustments to it. I miscalculated the size of the Bermuda Triangle, which I was basing this off of. The 500,000 square is 500,000 square miles, which I misread as kilometers. So doing the recalculation and calculating the general little area if it was a sphere, we came up with a new size. I also greatly expanded the size of the island to accommodate the new size of the area. So we have, as before, a tropical or subtropical environment existing in a temporal anomaly. The island size is 160,000 square kilometers. So it's 10 times the size as it was. Surrounding sea being 2,940,000 square kilometers, and the whole area being 3,100,000 square kilometers. I've also added a number of different biomes and make it a little bit more realistic. Rainforest, which has transitional areas, with jungle being transitional areas for it. Mangrove forests, which will be more of a plant-based area. As the estuaries is changed it to intertidal zones. I changed some wording here to epipelagic zone, apophytic zone. Add a seagrass bed area, and gave a little bit of explanation as to the anomaly itself. So what I've come up with is a quantum foam instability. Quantum foam, the theoretical fabric of space-time at the smallest scales, could experience an instability that propagates to a macro level. This event and the instability could create a bubble of altered space-time, effectively pinching off a piece of the ocean and the underlying crust. As the bubble grows, it would pull matter inward rather than push it outward, similar to the inflation of the universe, but on a smaller scale. This would create a new landmass and a localized, self-contained body of water within the bubble. How I isolate it's the water. The water is isolated by the boundary of the altered space-time bubble. This boundary would act like an invisible wall, preventing the inside water from mixing with the outside ocean. The quantum foam bubble creates a stable but occasionally fluctuating space-time boundary around the island. Sporadic coronal displacement and events open temporarily. The temporary portals pulling species, water, and even ecological fragments from random times. Mesozoic, Cenozoic, yada yada, in places. Ancient Gondwana, modern Pacific, into the island's ecosystem. The anomaly has mostly stabilized, making these events rare. This explains why modern planes or boats can pass through the Bermuda Triangle without noticing the island, as the boundary is now a subtle selective barrier. It's like it's not even there. The space-time bubble isolates the island in its water and ecosystem, allowing ancient and modern species to coexist without constant external influence. The boundary's invisible wall maintains unique water chemistry, salinity, temperature is in the neuritic zone. Yeah. How about the people doing the documentary? You stumble across those poachers, trophy hunter, the dinosaurs. Maybe. Though they have done the whole poaching dinosaur quite a number of times in these movies. Then you have bad guy is for the dinosaurs to kill off. Yeah, possibly. But that's basically where I'm at with the Timeless Island project. So, I think I'll finish up here. And I see Fate of the Grid is starting his show. Let's see here. Cosmic Theta Theater, Lensman, Power of the Lens, and Warp Speed are the movies we'll be watching tonight. There's a link if you want to go join him. You see, when the stream breaks down, the viewers don't get eaten. Later.